Hi, welcome to my knitting podcast. I'm Sarah and I am excited to be making this video for you. I'm recording in a new to you place. It's very not new to me. I'm staying in my parents' flat because my boyfriend has COVID and I'm isolating from him. So this is the flat that I grew up in and it's nice to be back. Although I'm a bit worried about my poor boyfriend who's got COVID. He seems to be okay though. So hopefully in time he will recover fully and quickly. It's been a pretty busy few weeks since I last made a video. I went to a wedding in Italy and it was really beautiful and a really fun trip. And I'm back home in Edinburgh for a little bit, and yeah, I've been doing some knitting, so I'll just show you. I've got two finished objects, so let's get those. The first finished object was a whip for quite a while, and it's this hat. It's the Iris hat by Sari Norland. And I made it using Pearl Soho line weight in Super Pink held double. It's a ribbed top-down construction hat with this sort of spirally 6-point crown. And I just knit until I ran out of yarn. I used just under a full skein of line weight, which is like a thin fingering weight. I think it's like 450 meters per skein, holding it double, and I use 3mm needles. I knit most of it on DPNs, which is why you can see I've got some laddering. It might be, here's a bit of laddering. It's really not so bad, and I haven't blocked it. And then I switched to a circular needle just because I found one. And I did a tubular cast off with all of the preparation. And it's the most beautiful, squishy, dense fabric. I love it. It's long enough that I can do a really wide brim if I want to. I'm not really one for a slouchy hat, but if I wanted to, I could. I think it looks really good. I think it looks like it could be something that you buy in a store. It's not always what I'm going for, but it's nice to be able to do that if that's what I want to do. It's not really for this time of year, but I'm very glad to have made this. I really, really liked this pattern. And I would totally recommend it. If you like the Musselburgh hat in the way that it's top down, but you want it to be 1x1 rib, then this is really, really wonderful. I have a lot of single skeins of yarn, and I think that this could be a really good use for them. And a ribbed hat is just very nice. So, yeah, I ended up making the adult medium, women's medium, but it looked very small on the needle, so I added 12 stitches, which was 2 extra increase rows. So I think that it's the perfect size. I don't know if mine was a little small because of my gauge. I didn't measure the gauge, but the pattern calls for a DK and a lace weight, so I think also my yarn might have been a bit thinner. So yeah, I purchased this skein, I think in 2019. It's the third project I've made out of line weight, and it's a beautiful yarn, but it's not very hardy. You can see it's already quite, not pilling, but it's already quite fuzzy, and that's not how it is originally. So I didn't want to turn it into a garment, which had been my original plan for the skein. So I thought really good on-the-go project could just be a hat, and such a good color. So I I thought this was great. I'm definitely going to use the same method to use other single skeins of fingering weight. And I think that this sort of hat would make a really good gift because it's not like out there at all. So yeah, that's my first FO. My second finished object, it's kind of two finished objects, but it counts as one because it's Hazel and her dress. And I finished this pretty shortly after I last recorded. I don't think Hazel was done, but maybe she was. I don't remember. But either way, she's done now. This is Hazel the squirrel, and I also did her dress. So I'll take her dress off so that you can see. She's got a bit of fuzz on her. So here she is. She's from the book Moosh and Friends, which is done by Lina, and I don't remember the name of the designer, but I'll put that on the screen. It was a fairly involved pattern, like you really need to read the pattern, and it's just so minutely detailed and thought through, and it makes just such a beautiful, cute little creature. Look at her. She's been in my suitcase, so she's got a tail which is a bit floppy, but some people put like a snap or a button, but I was going to give her to a baby, so I didn't do that, but now I don't think I am going to give her to a baby. My parents are putting on an exhibition to do with red squirrels, and they asked if they could have her for the exhibition, so that's why I brought her to Edinburgh. Hazel's dress, this is like the most involved garment I've ever made. It has like a scalloped bottom that's double knit, and then it's not done through color, well, it's color work, but it's done mosaic knitting, which is just the most labor intensive way to make a dress for a little squirrel that I could have ever thought of. And it's all done flat. And then you're supposed to put buttons on the back, but I thought I was giving this to a baby, so I just sewed it. And then you have these little straps. They're I-cords. It's sort of like a dungaree skirt shape. So, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, the yarn that I used to make her body, so all of these yarns are Holst Super Soft, held single, and I used a 2.25 millimeter needle, and I did magic loop. I tried to do it with DPNs, and I just couldn't start it. There were so few stitches at the beginning that the DPNs just kept falling out, but with magic loop it was doable, and the patterns are written really to be used with magic loop because it tells you how many stitches to have for the front and the back. So I would say if you do magic loop, if you can do magic loop, it's good to try that for these patterns. I did use DPNs on the arms and the ears and the feet. Look at the feet. She's got like heels. And you turn the heel for the bum, just the same way that you turn a heel for a sock. She is so cute. So I'll definitely be making more out of the book when I get back to the States. I'm in love with her, and it was so much fun to knit. The dress, not so much, but totally worth it. I think maybe I would do just regular stranded color work instead of mosaic knitting for other clothes, if I was doing other clothes, because I don't know why it's in mosaic knitting. But I wanted to stick to the pattern anyway. So the yarns that I used for the dress were just leftovers of sock yarns that I had. So the blue is Woolly Mammoth sock yarn. It was the mini skein in a sock set. so I don't know the color. And then the green is John Arbin Exmoor sock, I think in the color Aggie. So also this whole thing used barely any yarn. So it's just so good. She's so cute. It was so much fun to make. Very highly recommend this project. Look at her. The only thing that's a bit weird is that she's got this like back of the neck lump. That might have been my mistake. But we've all got a bit of lumps around, so, you know, it doesn't make her any less cute, I think. Yeah, it would be good to have like a little something to hold her tail up. So yeah, that's Hazel. I've got quite a few works in progress to show you, and I think I'm gonna start with the newest one. It's a garment, and I may have shown some acquisitions related to this in my last episode, but I might not have. I don't really remember the timing. I already owned 2 balls of the Knitting for Olive Pure Silk in the color copper, but I needed to get more if I was going to make any sort of garment out of it, and I kind of had the itch for a summer knit. So I bought 2 more balls of the same yarn from Wool & Company, and with the 4 balls, I had enough to make the Vacation Vest by Park and Knit, holding the yarn double, which was sort of what I was wanting. The last project I made with Knitting for Olive Pure Silk, it was a much finer yarn than I had anticipated it being, and the project just took forever. I really liked it in the end, but it was just too much time and effort for a summer garment for me. That was the spring sorrel, but I knit a larger size at a finer gauge. This I'm holding it double on 5mm needles, so it's sort of the opposite situation. And yeah, so this is a little vest. I think I'm making the size medium or large. I'm making a size that gives me 0 to 1 inches of positive ease. And I'm onto the body. So I might try and put this on to show you, although it's a very similar color to my dress. Yeah, I'll try and put it on. The needle's not quite long enough to show you like what it would look like properly, but I think you'll be able to get the picture. Here, so, and silk does stretch in my experience when you wear it. So right now I would say it has about 0, it's about bang on for the ease, but I think I'll get another inch or 2 blocking. And this doesn't actually go, there's no decreases, it's just bunched up on the needle, and the needle is too short to have it not like that. So you get the idea. So the Vacation Vest, it's knit in a worsted weight, or for me, fingering held double. I think it's supposed to be knit in cotton, and I just really wanted to knit like a little vest for the summer, either to wear over things or to wear on its own. It's not going to be see-through at all because it's quite a thick fabric. And I'm gonna add little ties. The original pattern has hook and eye closures, but I think that would just be a nightmare for snagging for this combination. And I really like the little ties that are very in right now. So I'll do that. It was quite a fast and easy knit so far. I have a very even tension working flat, so I don't mind that I'm working flat. I don't get any rowing out, which is nice, although I don't really think it only matters if you care about it. So yeah, it's not like the easiest yarn to work with double, just because it's a little bit splitty, and it's twice as splitty when you're holding it double, but it's going pretty quickly, and I think the fabric is very nice. I've already used up 2 of the balls, so they're very similar dye lots. I'll show you. So I started with one from the pair that I already had and one from the new pair, just in case there was a difference in the dye lot. Then when I finished the first 2 skeins balls, it wouldn't be visible. So one of these, it's actually this one, is from the old dye lot, and I know it's this one because there was moth residue in it, which I got all of it out, but that's why there's more used from this ball than this ball, because I cut some of the yarn out. But I'm pretty sure that it's all gone now, and I'll just give this a wash when it's done before I wear it. It's just sort of, I've been a bit desensitized now, which is good. So yeah, I've been really making an effort not to buy any yarn, but I've already used the 2 skeins in this project, so it kind of doesn't count. And it uses up 2 balls of yarn that were in my stash. I think it's going to be great. It's so funny, my boyfriend hates this knitting project, and he's very involved, and he has really good taste, but he just doesn't like this, which is kind of funny. I think he'll probably like it more when it's done, or maybe he won't. Different people have different tastes. So yeah, this is knitting up quite quickly. I was going to just knit until the end of these, but I think that would be too long. I want it to be about hip length, so that it's not too cropped, but I don't want it to be so long that I have to increase for my hips. So it should, high hip, I think, will be good. So that's probably about 11 inches because I'm quite short-waisted. So yeah, I'm on my way with this. Did I say it's on 5mm needles, so it's knitting up pretty quickly? And it's really fun. I think, if it ends up being just a trendy thing that I only wear for a few summers, that's okay. I can either unravel it and knit something else, or keep it. I don't tend to be I don't feel the necessity too much of wearing what's in trend, but I thought that this was fun when I saw it. It's like a little waistcoat, and in the winter I can wear it over a long sleeve or something too. So fun for layering. So that is my vacation vest. I think that the pattern is quite well, it's very clear and organized. There isn't a huge amount to it, and I think that I'm not sure how it would fit as the sizes get larger, because there's really not a lot of thought put into the shaping around the shoulders and the neck area. The shoulder seam is a little bit, it's much higher than I would expect it to be, to the point where I was really worried if it's even going to fit on my body at all. So it's ended up being fine, so maybe it would end up being fine for all sizes, but I think that I would recommend looking for a tester in your size if you don't want to take the risk, and seeing if you like their project. I'm also a little bit skeptical of the really simple patterns. Although, actually, I take it back. The other sizes have more instructions than the size that I made. So maybe it isn't the case. I think it's very cute. Okay, I'll take it off now. Trying not to drop any stitches. If you're a returning viewer, you will remember this project because I was knitting it last time I was in Edinburgh about 2 months ago, and I put it down and left it here even though I was really close to finishing it. So, because I just didn't want to lug it all the way back to the States, and it was about to be summer, so it wouldn't even get worn there, but it was also tough to leave it behind. I am talking about the wave sweater, which I've made out of Nutidin. I started this in March. It is a gift from my dad, and I'm using, Nutidin and Isager Alpaca 1. I love the colors of the Nutidin, and I'm working through all of the stash that I have of it, and this is now the second like color changey sort of thing that I've made. And yeah, my dad just loved it, and it fits him beautifully, and so it's going to be a gift for him. And he runs very cold. This jumper is so warm that I don't think I could ever wear it even in the coldest of temperatures, because, well, maybe if I was in like the Arctic, but I think the coldest day in any of the places that I have been is still too warm for me to wear a sweater like this, because it's all over color work. So in case you're new, I'll give you a quick tour. It's knit on 4mm needles, so it's a very dense fabric. I've finished the body. I did corrugated ribbing for the body and the neck, and I used the colorwork motif from the Wave sweater. I'll put the name of the designer on the screen, and it will also be in the description box. But I've used all of the numbers and all of the shaping from the Doppio sweater, and same, I'll give the designer's information on the screen and in the description box, because I wanted to do a more complicated and sort of deliberate raglan increase than I saw on the Wave sweater in the project pages. So yeah, and this way I got to kind of try out 2 different ideas at once. So it worked really well. I've done this sort of thing before. I highly recommend doing that if you love to be challenged by knitting. And for me, I only want to make things that have nice construction. I'm not really interested in doing like a increase 1 everywhere raglan until you finish the yoke anymore. It's not interesting enough for my knitting, because it's like an activity that I'm doing as well as a end result that I'm making. So that was why I did the mashup, and I still have the sleeves to do. So this sleeve is longer and this sleeve is shorter, and I'm almost out of this light green, so I'm gonna have to think of something to do for the end of the sleeves. I'm not quite sure yet. I think I have about an inch or 2 to knit on this one, and then I just need to make the other one long enough to match. I'm really excited for this to be finished. My dad doesn't really know that it's for him, but I think he might have some suspicions. And I'm really looking forward to giving it to him. I think he'll get a lot of really good wear out of it. I used the color of easier alpaca one that I used is Thyme, and it's for the light green, and it's a beautiful, beautiful light green, and it's a perfect match. You really can't even see it at all. Making me wonder if I did use it. I'm sure I did, but I just like really cannot see it. And then I used, peacock for the blue. I just used the same color for all of the blues and greens, but it's a really good match for this, which is Botanisca, this sort of muted blue-green. I finished a lot of colors making this, which is like bittersweet. It's sad that I won't get to work with them again, but it's good because I made this beautiful sweater. And hopefully I can keep it together enough to finish the sleeves and make them look nice, even though I don't have any more of this light green. By the next time I record, this will be done. That's a promise I'm making to myself. Last time I stopped at this stage with the other Nutidin colorwork jumper, it took me like 4 months to keep going. So that's not gonna happen with this one. This one I'm gonna finish ASAP. And I have everything I need right here to do it. And I have a lot of free time because my boyfriend is stuck upstairs on his own. So I don't even have anyone to talk to. I can just knit away. So yeah, the return of the wave sweater. It's good to be back. It smells so good. It smells like sheep. It's beautiful. I think when I finish all of my Nudidin, if at that point I'm like, oh, I would really like some more, then I'll get some more. But no more buying it until I've done everything that I've bought. And I think I definitely have another sweater quantity. I might do that one in a lighter, like a looser gauge, so it's a bit less warm, and make myself a sweater. I could make my other dad a sweater like this, but he wears very muted colors and not a lot of prints. This dad, this is like exactly the sort of stuff that he wears. So I don't think that the muted and color changey jumper would be good for my other dad. But I do want to make him something, I just don't know what yet. So yeah, maybe for myself, the third one will be. It's an exciting prospect. It's mostly like a plummy purple that would be like a background or a main color, and then just like really random other colors. So yeah. 2 more works in progress. I've been doing a lot of knitting. The first, I will just show you very briefly. It is a pair of DRK Everyday socks. I started these right after I had surgery about 3 months ago, and I hadn't started the second one. I was working on other socks, other stuff. And then my iris hat, the pink one, was my travel project, so I didn't need another small project. But I finished the iris hat, so I cast on the second sock, and I knit the toe. It's a big toe. It's got an extra like 15 rows past where I would normally knit the toe. That is because I knit this whole sock, and then I tried it on and it was too small, so I cut the toe off, and because it's 2x2 rib, really any rib, you can't so easily pick it up and work in the other direction because you end up half of a stitch off. It's not noticeable in stockinette fabric, but if you think about it, the stitches are like a wiggle, and if you're knitting this way, you're using the top of the wiggle, like the arches on top, and then if you pick up and knit the other way, you're using the arches on the bottom, which are between the arches on the top. I'm sure that if you're watching my podcast, you know this. Anyway, I didn't want to mess up my rib at the very toe of the sock. So even though that probably would have looked better, I think it'll look fine on the foot. It just looks very goofy off the foot. I extended the toe. It's got a fleagle heel and a gusset, and then, yeah, it's just ribbed to the top. There's a tour group in the courtyard of the flat. That's, if you just heard applause, that's why they're not applauding for me. The yarn was a yarn that I got on a very steep sale from Swoon Fibers, who I think I talk about quite a lot. I really like her. She does hand-dyed yarn. She's on Etsy. Really like her stuff. And I bought a ton of yarn from her in 2019 and 2020, sorry, not 2019, 2020 and 2021. And I've been really enjoying knitting with it. I don't think she's ever done a self-striping yarn since this one. I haven't ever seen one, but it's really fun. And I've already made a pair of socks from this. I knit them on the beach in Provincetown in Cape Cod, and I really enjoy them. So I'm also enjoying the second pair. This is a mini skein that was also from Swoon Fibers. I just thought that they looked nice together. It's actually a kind of, oh, we're getting a quite bright sun right now, but it's actually quite a muddy light pink, if you can see. So I thought it went well with the sort of complicated, variegated stripe colors. And it's not too high of a sock. I think one of the reasons I like the other pair that I have in this yarn so much is because they're also not that high. So this is just my on-the-go project. It probably won't be done particularly quickly. I have no goals to finish it in any sort of time frame. It's just like when I'm writing or when I'm studying or on a train or something, I knit. I'll like, for example, I'm writing my dissertation for my master's degree right now, and I'll go to the library or to a coffee shop, and then I'll write for 45 minutes, and then I'll knit for 15 minutes and rinse and repeat. So it helps me from getting too exhausted from doing the same task for too long of a time. So that's sort of how most of it gets done. And I will have then finished a quite long-standing project. I think I've knit a pair of socks a month so far this year. It's a little bit of a false sort of rate because I knit like 3 pairs of socks in 2 weeks right after I had surgery, but it still counts. It's still coming out to about a pair of socks a month, which is pretty cool. The DRK Everyday Socks. This is the 3rd pair I've made, and the first 2 pairs ended up way too big for me, and both of them were given to my dad. He loves them. His favorite pair of socks I've ever made for him is a DRK Everyday Socks made out of Patton's Croy, and I really want to get more of that yarn because it's so hard wearing. I have a pair made from it. It was my first pair of socks I've ever made, and they just look brand new. So I think I'm maybe off the natural sock train for socks. I love it for other stuff, but I don't know. Maybe I don't want to say that. Maybe I'm just on the Patton's Croy train, and I want to get more of it and make socks for more people. So the 2 other pairs of DRK Everyday Socks, the gusset was just so much longer than I thought it was going to be. And by the time I'm done the gusset, I don't want to rip back the whole gusset and shorten the foot to make a pair of socks that fit me. It's like, it's too much to rip back. So that was my problem. So I don't know what I think of the Flegel heel because I haven't actually been able to wear any of the pairs that have a Flegel heel. But I can tell you my dad really likes it. So yeah, here's hoping that this will fit. This pair of socks I tried to correct because the last 2 came out so big and it was too small, and that's why I had to reknit the toe. So hopefully I'm in the Goldilocks spot now. And it'll be a huge success. The project bag, I've had this for years, and I think I show it in every single episode, but I haven't told you about it in quite a while. It's a woolly knit bag, and it's the Scott Monument, which I can see on many walks that I do in Edinburgh. It's the largest monument dedicated to a literary figure, to an author in the world, or at least I think. So that's pretty cool. I've never read any of Walter Scott's novels, but I do plan on it. I'm kind of on a ban from reading sort of like Victorian and pre-Victorian novels until I finish my dissertation, because I'm writing about Elizabeth Gaskell and I don't want to confuse myself. So I've just been rereading her novels, which I can't complain about. I love them. That's why I'm writing my dissertation on her. But it's been quite a while, and it is my bread and butter, so I am sort of itching to start reading more Victorian novels again that are new, that aren't the same like 7 that I've read over and over and over again. My deadline is the 4th of September, so yeah, hopefully it will be done by then, and then I'll get to read other stuff, and maybe I'll read like Ivanhoe. I actually think I've been recommended to read Trollope. My friend told me I would really like his novels, so closer to the time I'll get a more specific recommendation, and that's my plan. I'm very excited. Not that I don't love Gaskell, but you know, fresh stuff, very exciting. my last work in progress is my Tessellated pullover. And I'll show you what I got. I've been working on the sleeves. Rewind. I started knitting this about a year ago, actually, to the month. Quite soon after when it came out. I was using yarn from Stash, which is great, and it was a pretty impulsive cast on. I had knit a mosaic pattern before, but I hadn't really registered how long it takes to do mosaic knitting. So I didn't really know what I was getting myself into in terms of like slog of pattern. Saying that, I put a huge amount of work into this back then, and I've come back around to start knitting on it again because I just want to finish it. I do have quite a lot left to go, but I've done so much work on this already. So here's what I had done before. So here's the body. It's the Tessellated Pullover by Andrea Mowry. It uses 3 colors. I think that the light is kind of bad right now, but whatever, you know, it is what it is. It uses 3 colors. My 3 colors are Bird Book by Brooklyn Tweed in the base Shelter, a Jamieson and Smith color, which I might be able to tell you the name of, but I also might not. Yes, oh, I can. Yes, it's in FC58 mix. And it's really beautiful. It's like a very dyed-in-the-wool sort of blue-brown with yellow in it. And then I'm also using another yarn from Swoon Fibers, it's a mohair. It's called Flax. It's like a yellowy straw color. It's beautiful. It looks pretty much white in the project. And I just have to say, I love this color combination. I think it's just gorgeous. I'm really looking forward to being able to wear it. It's I do also really like the spin cycle projects that I see a lot online. And I wear a lot of bright colors and I love that stuff, but I also really like this, and it's all yarn that I already had. So that's very satisfying to me. So I'm making the size, I think size 5, and yeah, so it's bottom up. The body is complete. I've got about 10 inches of positive ease on the body so far, and I have been working. I had also knit one sleeve, but I think it's actually half of one sleeve. So this is what I had done about a year ago. I am so glad that I put safety pins in for all my increases, because I just simply would not have been able to figure out what I did. I did not do a particularly good job with the increases. It's kind of hard to tell because the safety pins are in the way, but I will show it to you when they're done. I daren't take them out. It fits. It fits fine, but this is not a whole sleeve. That's like 2/3 of a sleeve maybe if it's a drop shoulder. This is the other one that I've done. I'm about at the same point, but there's more to do. I think I have another like 10 repeats to do. And this one is just miles larger than this. I originally was very worried that I had accidentally gone down a needle size, but then I rewatched my podcast from about a year ago, and I said the needle size in the podcast, so I know that I didn't. I think this must have just been blocked quite aggressively, because if you look at them like one in front of the other, you can see that this back one is significantly wider, and yeah. So even if yeah, I don't know. I just am hoping that it blocks. It does like fit, and it is mosaic, and it feels quite scrunchy. Like this material feels very drapey, and this does not feel so drapey. I guess they look quite similar, but I have hope that this will block out. I should maybe block it before I attach everything, just to make sure. But it's gonna be a tough blow if I have to knit this sleeve again. I cannot believe how much work I put into this before putting it down, because this sleeve has really taken it out of me. So let me tell you about my plan, because I've gone back and forth quite a lot about this. Originally, I had planned to modify this into a raglan shaping. Now I'm thinking that that's gonna be really hard, because it's got a funny gauge because it's mosaic knitting. It's a similar ratio, so it's not as if, it's not one of those stitch patterns where there's like, it's the normal width, but there's a lot of rows and they're much shorter. Sometimes slip stitch patterns end up like that. It's like, it's a normal ratio. I guess that was enough said. Yeah, I just don't know how to make it look good, and it's such a time-intensive project. I don't want to mess it up, especially on those long rows. So, because my body piece has like 300 stitches or more on it, and each of these sleeves is going to end up with around 100 stitches, I think. Yeah, I just don't, I don't have enough faith in my knitting knowledge to think that I can pull that off first time without getting really discouraged if it goes wrong. So I will tell you what I'm going to do. I think last time I spoke to you, I had planned on just knitting the pattern as it is written. I do not want to do that. I looked at the pattern again, I looked at the project pages, I looked at the samples, and it's like the body is shaped as a t-shirt with like a little out jut tight in the sleeve area. And I've made a jumper with that shaping in the past, and I do not like the way that it fits. So I'm not going to do that again. I just don't like the tight top of the sleeve with the stitches still going down. I don't really like that look. So I am going to end up modifying the shaping, but I think that I have a way that will be easier, and easier because the shaping will be in a less prominent design feature. So I think I'm going to use the measurements from my stick season sweater. Do I have it here? No, it's upstairs. And knit the tessellated to those measurements for the drop shoulder shaping. So instead of doing the Andrea Mowry like t-shirt body, sewing the sleeves onto that, I'm going to split for front and back, knit the stick season pattern backwards, doing the top of the back shaping, and then do the same for the front, and then seam at the top of the shoulders. I'll omit the rib detail in the stick season. The stick season is by Creabea, Rebecca Clow. She's a podcaster and knitting designer, and I really love the fit of my stick season. I think it's just a wonderfully and thoughtfully designed garment. So I would love to have another jumper in a fun texture that fits me just like that. The only problem is that sweater is top down. It's not a problem, it's just a challenge, and I do love a challenge. But for this, it's so much less risk than the raglan seams because it's knit flat, so I can knit the back and then measure it and see if it's good. And for that, since the ratio of increases to decreases is since the ratio of stitches to rows is the same, even though it's a very different gauge. I think it will be not too hard to modify that pattern. And I'll have practice on the back, and then on the front, I can always just unravel that little bit and reknit it, so it's not like I would have to unravel the whole round. Oops. Oh, but actually I need to do the front first. But still, I think that this is a good idea. So I can do that. That's my current plan. And the stick season has a little bit of short row shaping in the sleeves, which I'll add in. The only thing that is getting in my way is I don't know whether I should follow the stitch count for what I have, like in the stick season pattern, because one of the sizes has a similar stitch count for the body to what I have. So, or if I should just multiply the numbers in the pattern up to meet my gauge for the stitch counts. I haven't decided yet. On the one hand, it would be much easier just to say, okay, I can follow all of the numbers for this one size because that is the number of stitches I have. But on the other side, I don't know if she's used a different model for like the 3-4X than she did for, I think I knit the large or the XL. So if it's a different shaping, I want to stick with the shaping I already did because I really liked that. So I still have quite a lot of sleeve to go before I need to make this decision, and I think I've done a better job at increasing the sleeves, increasing on the sleeves for this, although there's a little bit of a pucker. Hopefully that will block out. The light's really not very good. I'm sorry about that. Whatever. I don't think anyone really cares about lighting. So that's what I'm thinking about my tessellated. I hope that that made sense. If you have any advice, I would love to hear it. I'm using 3.5mm needles for this project, and yeah, I was relieved momentarily when I thought I was just going to knit what was in the pattern, but that's not really like me, I guess. I very rarely do that, and I'd rather have something exactly what I want than knit something just to pattern because it's easier. I still am itching for a raglan, so I'll probably cast on a raglan quite soon. But once I finish all of these projects, which I guess not that soon, I think I'm gonna, I don't know if any of you would remember my color block fisherman jumper that has sort of been in my mind since last winter, but I have that yarn here. So if I finish all of the non-tessellated garmenty projects, which is really just the vest and the wave sweater, I will maybe start swatching for that, because I like to have more than one project on the go at a time. And I'd love to finish this while I'm here so that I don't have to lug this big bag back to America. And I have over a month, so you know, it's not impossible. I am going to Greece for another wedding in about 2 weeks, week and a half, and it's hot there and I don't think I'm gonna want to touch this. So I think I'll probably be knitting on socks while I'm there, but maybe a sleeve will be fine. The other thing about this project is, since there's 3 yarns, the yarn management is necessary and it's quite a big part of it. I couldn't knit on this on a plane. Maybe some people could. I couldn't. So it's sort of like I couldn't bring this when I'm studying. It sort of has to be like a sitting at my desk project. Although I can watch TV or a podcast or listen to an audiobook or music while I do it. It doesn't take a lot of concentration. I just need like physical space to do it. So those are all of the updates for my projects. I hope that you've enjoyed this video. I've enjoyed making it. I think that my next episode is probably going to be exciting. I'll have a finished wave sweater at the very least. And it's been really fun for me to record this. I've been a little bit lonely because my boyfriend has COVID. So I haven't had anyone to talk to for a little bit. So I'll probably like edit and upload a video. I'm a video or two behind in posting. So it won't be this one, but I'll probably upload a video today, and that would be really nice. And I hope that you're having a great spring, summer, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.